Good afternoon. I'm Sifu Dave Charlesworth from KAJUKENBO Napoli here in Naples, Italy. I wanted to get some people together here and talk about OHANA and the KAJUKENBO family tree in light of some of the things that have been going on lately here in Facebook and social media in regards to KAJUKENBO. So before we get started here, though, I'd like to go ahead and go around the horn here and have everybody introduce themselves.
Hi, Senior Grandmaster New from Honolulu, Hawaii.
Senior Grandmaster Hemenes from South Lake Tahoe, California.
Grandmaster Jimmy Willis from Fresno, California.
Sifu Steve Miller from beautiful Central Oregon, United States of America.
All right. So to get things started here, I just wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about let's talk about old school versus the new mentality in KAJUKENBO. Anybody got anything that you want to start off with, or?
Well, I'll start off with senior since he's a senior.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, over the past decade, a lot of things have changed in KAJUKENBO. It's not like the old days where there's a lot of respect and honor towards the seniors. Today, there's a lot of challenges. The younger ranks are challenging all the different grandmasters. Things that there's no respect there. Just total bashing people and so forth. And the respect of today is not what it was like in the old days. In the old days, when your teacher said something, you did it, whether you like it or not. It didn't matter. But you can always talk to your teacher afterwards. But it was never done publicly. It was never done in front of students. It was always done on the side. Now, in the old days, if you were disrespectful, and the old timers will know this, you get your ass whooped. And you get your ass whooped in front of everybody. So, and that's where the discipline came from. It was right? I don't know. But you know what? Today's discipline is very poor. It's not what it was like before. A lot of disrespect, no honor, no respect. Integrity's gone. And everybody wants to be a grandmaster. And that needs to stop. Because you need the time, you need the time on the floor, you need to have the years, you need to have the number of black belts under you. So with that, people need to understand that if you don't have it, earn it. I mean, you can't self-promote yourself. That is totally unacceptable. I mean, that was never heard of back in the old days, self-promotions. But now there's a lot of guys who want to self-promote themselves. And then again, I blame leadership because there are some grandmasters who promote people to grandmasters that don't even know KAJUKENBO. That all needs to stop.
Yeah.
And I'll turn it over to Senior Grandmaster Hemenes for any other comments.
Yeah, I what you said, I pretty much agree 100%. Like I said, the sad part is that I know for a fact that one of my black belts, even if I didn't like the person, I was going to say person A, I don't want to use the name. So I said, I don't like person A. Okay, I wouldn't let my black belts say horrible things to him. Because like you said, the respect is totally disrespecting somebody. We might feel that way, but if they would never, especially on a public show and a public, what do you call it, social media, and to say the things that you say and things that aren't true, and that somebody probably wasn't even born when you were a black belt. Yeah. That I blame their teacher 100% because they should teach their students not to do that. It shouldn't just be oh yeah, have me give me a high five because you talk shit to this guy. Okay, that's not it. It's like no. Like one of my, give a quick example. This is years ago. The poor guy passed away, Tony Daniels. He's Taekwondo, he's not KAJUKENBO. He had a habit of when he wanted you to referee, he'd grab you by your arm and he'd yank you. You wouldn't ask. So I got kind of mad at him because of that, and I told him, grabbed me, just asked me. You know, and after that, we became best friends. Best friends in the world. Like I cried like a baby when he died. And he was on the phone with me, too, you know. And anyway, long story short, he did it with Tony Virtue, one of my students. And Tony pulled away, and Tony told him, I don't have to listen to you. You're not my teacher. So, of course, he came to me and he told me. But the first thing I did, I know how Tony Daniels is, so I know what he did. That wasn't right for what he did, but I told my student, you go over there and you apologize to him for talking to him that way. What? But I'm not wrong. I said, no, he's an elder. You need to go apologize. He wasn't too happy with me because I didn't apologize. He did. He went over there and he said, sir, I apologize for what I said. He goes, it won't happen again. And then, you know, they kind of shook each other, gave each other a little hug, and that was it. Now, I could have been like, you know, like a lot of the other guys, oh, yeah, he's an asshole, and high five. But no, I didn't. So you go over there and you tell him you're sorry. And he did. That's the respect you have to give to the elders. Of course, remember, respect is also earned too. But when it comes to like I would never talk bad to any of the high upper guys, like, you know, like Hal DeCosta, Senior Grandmaster Vargas, Dela Cruz, you know, now Novak, Alan Reyes, people like that. You would never in a million years see me talk crap to them or Gaylord or whatever. You know, so yeah, it goes back to the teacher, and that needs to stop. Grandmaster Willis?
Well, you guys basically said it all. It does need to stop. And it starts from the teacher, the Sifu, who's teaching the class, who's teaching them to become a black belt. It's very important. Martial arts is all about respect, and it's a tradition of having respect, and that is lost. It's a lost art, and it needs to be picked up. So you both hit it on the nail. It's all starts at home, where your school is at. It's all about respect. Having respect, you have less conflict, you know, less fights. You know, so it starts with the school at home or where you're training from. So I agree with both of you said 100%. You both kind of hit it on the nail. Not kind of, you did hit it on the nail. So it is 100%.
Sifu?
Do you guys think that respect and honor tie in? That respect is honorable, and if you're respectful, you're honorable. And I have to say publicly, I've had disagreements with my former Sifu in a private conversation, and I even regret some of my harsh words toward him. I still have a lot of love and respect toward him, but if I could take some of the things I said back, I would. I've had arguments with guys who were a first degree black belt or second degree black belt when I was a third degree black belt. And I regret some of the things I said, and I should have been more mature. I think maturity is another thing that goes in with respect and honor, that if we're mature, we're going to stop ourselves before we say something that we could regret. You know, I don't like sitting here saying that I've said things I regretted, but I have, because I'm human just like anyone else, you know?
Sure.
And I recently got called out by somebody. I want to bring this up and ask what you guys think about it. I made a lateral movement. I left Sifu Tim Gagne to go under Sifu Tony Hemenes. And part of that process, even though I said I didn't want or need a promotion, and I'm disabled, I can't even train, whether people like to hear that or not. It's true. I miss being able to teach and train. But this guy who he's still with Sifu Tim. He came onto LinkedIn. He didn't call me on the phone. I thought that was really disrespectful and weak and cowardly to go through LinkedIn and send me an email through LinkedIn at 10:30 at night. And he said, "Fifth degree, really? You can't even train. You have no honor." Okay. You know, first of all, it's nobody's business. If somebody like myself or anyone else wants to make a lateral move for whatever their reason is, and it's worked out between. Now, unfortunately, I tried to call Tim Gagne and tell him, hey, you know, I'm under Sifu Tony now. I'm a WWKF man, but he wouldn't answer the phone. And that's the reason why I left him. because I felt abandoned and neglected. For public record, I'm putting it out there. But it was nobody's business. And now if somebody wants to make it their business, you know, you can email me, find me on Facebook, call me on the phone if you got your phone number. The person who made this comment to me, you got my email address, you got my phone number. You want to talk to me about it before you go slandering me? That's one thing. But to come and take a little pot shot on LinkedIn and tell me I have no honor because I found a new home, where quite frankly, I feel really at home with you, Sifu Tony, and you've been nothing but great. You've been nothing but great to me, and I can always call you, and you're always available. Where I couldn't get that, you know. I mean, even Sifu Dave, I tried to connect him with Sifu Tim Gagne, and he heard nothing. He got crickets chirping. So,
Well, the guy that called you and said that, because you can't teach no more, whatever. He's an idiot, because let me tell you something. Whatever training would have came over and ran over both your legs. So that means you're not a karate guy anymore. I mean, you don't have the knowledge in your head. You can't do what you're doing right now. Focusing on KAJUKENBO and what's going on and stuff like that. Sometimes you don't have to get on the mat and punch and kick somebody or do a form if you cannot do it because you got sick or whatever, or no matter what's happened to you. But the knowledge is still in your head, and if you're able to give that knowledge to one person, I'll give you a hug and a slap on the back, because it's probably more than that guy has done. So for him to talk bad about you, he's not even in the same league as you. Keep that in mind.
Thank you, Sifu.
And again, as Senior Grandmaster Hemenes said, he lacked the knowledge. Proper respect. That call was a poor call. It was disrespectful. So,
well,
and you know better. You know better.
I would have rather had him reach out to me and say, "Hey, I heard this happen, and tell me why." And at least listen to my side of the story before he made a judgment call. Because let's use for an example, Grandmaster Frank Trejo from Ed Parker's Kenpo Karate. He had a really bad case of diabetes before he passed away. And in his last days, he had all 4 limbs amputated, but he would still show up to Kenpo seminars in a wheelchair. And it's something that stuck with me when I went with Sifu Lopez and he got promoted to 6th degree. He said, everything from 4th degree and up is what you give back to the art, and I might not be able to physically teach or train, but I'm here with you guys trying to give back to the art, because we all love KAJUKENBO. We love the family tree, and we're seeing problems out there. We're trying to address them and help solve these problems.
Yeah.
So,
so
that's my 2 cents, and
Well,
back. Go ahead, Sifu.
Just like in this, well, I haven't talked to him in a while, but Senior Grandmaster Vargas, now he can teach me something over the phone. Nothing about punching or kicking, but the knowledge of, you should do this, you should do that, you shouldn't do this, you should do that. Listen to what I'm saying. Usually 99.9% of the time, he's right. I mean, people can make fun of him all they want, but he put out a list of champion fighters, okay, and champion black belts. He's a very smart man, okay? So that's why sometimes, by learning KAJUKENBO, it doesn't have to be on the mat with a pair of gloves on. Just the mental part of it is worth, a month's worth of lessons, at least for me.
Yeah, Sifu Steve, just because you're disabled, it doesn't mean you can't teach. Anybody can teach. I have a lady that I teach in a wheelchair, one leg. She just took championship at a tournament. And at the tournament, I told the judges, don't give her no chance, treat her just like anybody else. And she did her part. She learns by, a lot of times, because she can't use her legs, she has hands. She learns from listening to tips we can give her to modify her moves so that she can do what she can. So you as an individual, you as a Sifu, have the knowledge and you still can't teach. Don't let that, Don't let yourself think that you can't do that. You can.
Mm.
Well, I
Anybody
think
can.
that
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. For the record, I have a progressive degenerative neurological condition, so it's almost like multiple sclerosis for me. I can't hardly even use my hands anymore. So I wish I could do more physically, but I just can't. But I hear what you're saying, and I really do appreciate it. I taught a woman all the way up through blue belt. She's in a wheelchair, paralyzed from the waist down. So I know it is possible, but I can't. I can barely even use two fingers anymore. But I hear what you're saying, and I am here. I can still talk. It hasn't affected my speech or my mind, and I can still talk, and I can still share. Like, I share pointers with Sifu Charlesworth all the time, and he takes it and runs with it, whatever he wants. And I told him, you could just tell me to take a hike if you want. You don't want to listen to anything I have to say. That's fine. But he actually, he'll apply some of this stuff and then come back at me later like, hey, and I'm like, oh, hey, where'd you get that? Good one, So
And-
I
Go ahead.
I love KAJUKENBO. I think we should all be more considerate of each other as brothers and sisters. And
Absolutely.
like I try to watch every video that Sifu Dave puts out and Senior Grandmaster Tony. And every single video that I've seen you put out, Senior Grandmaster, you throw out your phone number, 2 of them, and you say, hey, if you want to have a talk like gentlemen, call me.
All the time.
That's huge. And people don't do that even anymore these days,
Yeah.
And and the ones that tell me they tell me, they go, oh, kick your ass. I go, oh yeah, we come over here, you help me out of my chair, and we'll see who wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
You gotta help me up. He's gotta help me up first.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You don't have the word senior in front of grandmaster for nothing.
Yeah, my legs and my hips are shot.
Well,
Let me get a hold of you.
Well, I think that's important to note one thing, especially since we're talking about disabilities and things like that. Just like in life, when you're talking about being able to train in KAJUKENBO and things of that nature, well, as you get older, as you get injured, either whether you be in a tournament, whether you be in real life street situation or whatnot, you're not going to be able to use every part of your body the way you were able to use it when you're 18 years old. Okay. So if you're injured or you're disabled or whatever, you need to learn how to defend yourself regardless of your current state of health. Okay. Even if that's just screaming for help. Okay. I mean, I'm a 100% disabled veteran. Okay. I may not be at the point you're at in your life right now, Steve, and I salute you for doing what you do. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Because you're a hell of a mentor. You and I have a lot of long talks. And if nothing else, you keep my brain sharp and keep me from going off half cocked. Okay. But when we're talking about the family tree here, we all stem from one place. We all stem from CJO. Okay.
Amen.
So that's the trunk, if you will. Okay. And then all the branches that come off of that tree, okay, are all of us that are on that family tree. And there's a whole bunch of people on that family tree. Okay. And then you got little twigs that come off of each one of those branches, right? Right now, I'm a little nub. Okay. I'm a 40-year-old nub. Okay. It's taken me that long to get where I'm at today. Okay. And I'm not afraid to say that. Somebody was trying to make fun of me in Facebook the other day, and they said, how long did you take you to get from colored belt to 3rd-degree black belt? And I told them 40 years.
Yeah.
Because it's the truth. It took me 40 years to get from my green belt to my 3rd-degree black belt. Okay. And all of a sudden it was kind of like, so now you want to claim you got 40 years. Well, yeah, I do have 40 years since I started training in KAJUKENBO. Now, I didn't say I've been teaching for 40 years. Okay. I'm not claiming I should be a grandmaster right now. I'm just saying it took me 40 years. That's why I call myself a 40-year-old black belt. Okay. But when you talk about honor and you talk about respect and you look at what's going on right now in social media and the KAJUKENBO chat rooms and things like that, take a look at the accounts that are mentioning things. And I'll just mention the 2 prominent ones that are going on right now that are fake accounts. So I'm not calling anybody out specifically. Okay, you got this Mansour Salem. Okay, this guy joined most of the groups on the 4th, and his profile only goes back to the 4th of September, the day he started posting bad stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Same thing with Peter Holland. His was created on the 27th of August. Okay. You look at his profile, it only goes back to the 27th of August. What's that tell you? It was created on the 27th of August, and he started posting bad things. Okay. So these guys are fake accounts. Okay. And the reason that's important when we're talking about honor and we're talking about respect, what honor is it in covering up your face and throwing dirt or mud in somebody else's face?
Amen.
Okay. Everybody on that family tree has the right, okay, to question everybody else on that family tree if you like. Okay. I'm fine with that. Okay. I only ask that you do it in private and not in public. Okay. We've got people in our groups that aren't even KAJUKENBO, for Christ's sake. Okay. There's a guy in there that says, hey, I'm a Ed Parker Kenpo guy, and I'm really interested in KAJUKENBO. I'm a brown belt in Kenpo. Well, y'all are acting like a bunch of fools. Okay. And we are.
If I could interject for a second, do you guys think, first of all, before I ask this question, I think whoever manages these groups on social media, when they clearly see a fake profile that was created a month ago or 6 months ago, that person should be kicked out of the group, or they should demand the real, only use your real account. Quit hiding behind a fake account, because that pisses me off. And my question to you, gentlemen, is, would you agree with me that things really started to fall apart in KAJUKENBO when Sijo passed away? I mean, does that seem like a point in time where things really started to fall apart?
Grandmaster.
I agree, because over time things got worse and worse and worse. They tried to bring a group together to bring everybody together. That didn't work because there's too much different. Everybody had their different agendas, but I don't know if they ever tried to do it again. But time as social media got better, everything got worse and worse and worse and worse. A lot of people, like I said earlier, a lot of people talk crap. That should never happen. Should never happen. You know.
I agree.
So social media as a whole has given people the rights to do everything.
You know, it's giving them. You know, it's giving the social media is giving them balls.
A lot of balls.
Giving them balls because they can stand there, these big fat balls behind the keyboard, and hella talk shit, threaten to beat people up, but they would never do that face to face. So it gave everybody balls. That's why I leave my phone number. I leave both of them so that you can even text me. So and I don't give a fake name. I don't give a, like, you know, Atman's doing this Muhammad thing. You know, I don't need to do that. You know, and if, you know, it's just the way it is, you know, and that's all it is. Is social media gave people balls. That's it.
You know, when Sifu Dave, when Sifu Dave and I were training with Sifu Lopez back in the 80s, if somebody got out of line in class or even outside of class, Sifu Lopez didn't need to smack us or anything. It was one of the senior students, or we'd have a sparring night and everybody would kick your ass, and we called it, you got a spanking. You got a spanking. Now learn your lesson, you know? And I think there's a lot of guys out there now that are young punks that need a spanking, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I think that kind of goes into, you know, some of the attributes of being a black belt. You know, when you're talking about honor, we're talking about respect, right? Sincerity, loyalty. You know, I mean, there's many of them. I mean, feel free to throw any out as you like. But I think that a lot of the, you know, like you said earlier, I mean, this all comes from your teachers, right? And if you're an instructor that's going to talk trash about everybody else, you're going to pass that attitude along to your students, you know. Whereas if you're, you know, the kind of guy that, you know, enforces a strict, you know, code of conduct, I mean, you know, just people calling you Sifu in class as opposed to calling me Dave, you know, We may be friends outside of class, right? But when we're in class, you don't call me Dave. You call me Sifu, right?
Yes.
It's a protocol. You know, if somebody walks in the room, so if one of you guys comes over, you know, to my classes and you come in the room and I see you walk in, I call my class to attention. I say it, salute the Grandmaster before you, salute. And we salute you. Okay. And then you tell us, okay, carry on. You know, it's just like the military, folks, you know. Granted, that's an easy thing for me to say because I was in the military for 26 years. But you know, a lot of people don't understand that martial arts, I mean, it's rooted in military style of values. There is a chain of command, there is a rank. Okay. And I'm not going to say that I've never called out a grandmaster because, you know, you guys have seen me do it. I have done it. You know, but that's because we've got so many people out there these days that hold a title, and that's all it is a title. Okay.
Well,
With
I
that
know
title-
Vargas picked out he was a brown belt or green belt, one of the two. Kicked him out of the studio because you know, Vargas's name is Gabriel Vargas, but they call, you know, people we didn't, but other people outside that were calling Gabe. So the brown belt calls up and he goes, "Hey Gabe, is there class tonight?" And Vargas is just nice and said, "What'd you call me?" "Gabe." He goes, "You find a new studio." And he was a brown belt. Kicked him out because he did that. He was that strict. Maybe a little bit over the hill, but he could have given him a warning. But nope, no warning. You know, and he told us before. So I still call, you know, I call him Sifu. I've never called him Gabe.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's just, it's kind of a foreign concept, you know, to cross those lines. You know, it's a little more difficult. Looks like we may have lost Sifu Steve there.
He'll pop back on. But you know, and then the point about he's up at top. You bring him down.
Back. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. My internet's bugging
It's
out.
like like Jesus up there looking down at us.
You guys frozen. There we go.
There you go. Just and one thing to keep in mind too, you don't need to explain to anybody your rank. You don't need to explain where you came from. You didn't explain. It's none of their business. It's really none of. Now, let's say a senior grandmaster knew, or Grandmaster Willis said, "Hey, Dave, what you training with again?" Yeah, that's a little different. But when you get these the guys behind the keyboard going, "Well, who did you do this, and when did you get that?" It's none of their business.
Yeah.
Don't tell them that.
You know, for the record, just because I like to be open and honest and transparent, I didn't ask for anything but a new home when we talked. And I asked you, Senior Grandmaster, to come over to WWKF so I could come out of retirement and do a podcast with Dave. And I specifically said, I don't care about a promotion. I'm happy as a third degree. And you said, no, a lateral transition, I got to promote you to fourth degree. And then you asked me, when was your last promotion? And I looked at my certificate and I sent you a picture and you said, hey man, you haven't been promoted for 20 years and you're 50. And so you promoted me as you saw fit, which I can't argue with it, but I want everyone to know I only asked for a new home. I didn't ask for any rank. I don't care about rank. Skill is always more important than rank. And now I have a new home, and it just so happens that I was given a promotion in the process. And it's really nobody's business, but there it is for the record, folks. So like it or lump it.
Yeah. And like Senior Grandmaster Vargas, I hate to be keeping him up, but Senior Vargas always said, when they stop talking about you, that's when you worry. So all these guys are talking about all of us. It's because they're jealous. They can't fill our shoes. We're the number one thing right now, and so we're going to be attacked. So I take it more sometimes as a compliment when they do it, and they may make things up. It's kind of, gets kind of old, but it really sometimes it's more of a compliment because we're a sore subject to them. So that's that they got to pick. What do you think, Grandmaster Willis, before you fall asleep?
No, I'm not falling asleep. I'm at an angle, so it looks like it. But no, you're correct. what you're saying is correct. You caught me off guard because you asked me right now. No, but what you're saying is correct. Um, just be yourself, and I try not to worry about others. But traditionally wise, it has changed. Things have changed where you get lower ranks talking, smarting off the higher ranks, and other people allowing it to happen, which is a no-no. Time has changed, but in my school, we're very traditional. It's yes sir, no sir, respect the elders, and elders as far as streetwise, martial art wise, and like Dave said, there's military. Coming from the military, also everything is structured. When I was a kid, everything was structured. It was yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir. Open the door for the elders. I mean, always giving respect. In order to earn it, you must give it.
Yeah.
To receive it.
Well, I think it's important to note too. One of the things that I noted from my 40-year journey to black belt, okay, and this is something I was going to mention in another video, and I probably still will. But the way I look at things is we're all from different families within the same family. Okay, we all move out, so to speak, and once we get our black belts from our instructors, we go our own way. We open our schools, we start our own family, and we start creating new black belts with the students that we have. Okay. With that said, yes, we all stem from the original method of KAJUKENBO. Okay. But magically, KAJUKENBO has morphed over the years. Okay. So we went from KAJUKENBO, okay, to Tumpai, okay, which then became Chunfa. Okay. Then Tumpai came back, okay, with Sifu Jan Loren. Okay. And then Aldo Cascos realized that the Chun Fa he was teaching was no longer Chun Fa and decided to call it Wun Hop Kuen Do. And now we have a fifth in KAJUKENBO MMA. Okay. Which the reality of things here is when you have 5 different styles, okay, of KAJUKENBO, right? How can you have the same standards across each style? Okay, but not only that, but now you have all these different methods within each different style. You've got the Halbuna method. You've got the Gaylord method. You got the Lopez method. Okay. Faircloth method. There's so many different methods out there within each different style as well. So all the requirements are different. Okay. When I went through and I started looking at my belt requirements, right? I would look through all the belt requirements for Sid Lopez, right? And then I looked through all the requirements for original method, right? Looked at the 4-back tapes and, hey, what's he got on there? And I looked at what the Gaylord method was. And just for example here, okay, Lopez method, we had 22 punch counters. Okay. The 4-back tapes have 21. Gaylord method, 21. So pretty close, but they're all different. Okay. Grab arts. There were 67 grab arts on the Lopez method. Okay. On the 4-back tapes, I think there's 7. Okay. Gaylord method, 21.
A and B.
Okay.
I think we had 26 punch counters with Sifu Tim Gagne, and some of them had like A, B, C, and variations to where I can't remember. I can't remember exactly, or if it was 21 and it turned out with 26 with the variations. But that's something we all need to understand is part of the individual expression. Like when Dave and I were coming up in the ranks under Sifu Lopez, it was a thing. Like we looked forward to the day where instead of Lopez KAJUKENBO on the shirt, it would say Charlesworth KAJUKENBO or Miller KAJUKENBO.
Sure.
I never used my name because Jim Ingram, I was training in CLOT under Jim Ingram for a time. And during one of our long telephone calls, he gave me a really profound lesson, and he explained why he named his martial art Amerindo, and it's American Indonesian. And he said, Steve, don't ever try to pretend you're more important than the art you teach. And I took that home, and so my shirt said American KAJUKENBO on it for a long time because KAJUKENBO is American. And lastly, I just want to throw this out before I forget. Big congratulations to Grandmaster John Hackelman and the MMA branch of
Oh, yeah.
Kajukembo. I've never met that man in person, but I've always looked up to him over the years because he seems like a really down to earth, no bullshit kind of guy that,
Yeah.
I mean, it's really good to see the MMA aspect being truly brought in on the family tree and recognized, because I'll tell you one thing, you guys, I'm sure you're all going to agree. The popularity of MMA has kind of helped weed out some of the BS in martial arts. Would you not agree?
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
far as fighting capability alone.
Yeah,
At
well,
least.
you know, but that also begs to change things a little bit as well. I mean, you look at belt requirements when you're talking about MMA. What happens to all the katas? What happens to all the tricks? What happens to all the grab arts?
Well,
They're
I
not
think
concentrating on that stuff. They're concentrating on MMA.
I
Okay,
think
so
I,
again,
I
another
think we should
difference.
have it all. I think we should have it all. You know, that's one thing I've always believed, that what makes us Kajukembo is the Palama sets, the grab arts, the punch counters. And then, of course, those are going to change a little bit. You know, like the way Sifu Dave Charlesworth does something is not going to be the way that Sifu Steve Miller does it, or Grandmaster Jimmy Willis, or Senior Grandmaster Tony Hemenes, or Senior Grandmaster Robert New. We all have our own way of doing punch counters and grab arts. I'm sure that if we all did Palama sets, they would look a little different. I have to say, I have a ton of love and respect for Sifu Tim Gagne, although honestly, it's overshadowed with disappointment in some things. I'm sure he can say the same thing about me, but he was very gracious to me and allowed me to adapt my Kajukembo. And for instance, there's some Choi Le Fut forms, like the Sulam 6 and the Sulam 9. I couldn't do those. So he allowed me to substitute those with Junbao Wushu from James Ebreo, because I didn't believe that I should be teaching something or trying to teach something to my students that I couldn't do. Now, I also had to learn the Nun Pai form to get my 3rd degree black belt. And that was a tough form, but it's a beautiful form. But I think that there's an essence to Kajukembo, which is the forms, the grab arts, the punch counters, that kind of stuff is what defines the art. And then from that,
Foundation.
yeah, that's your foundation. Correct. Exactly. You nailed that, sir. But from that, we can grow it out to MMA, whatever else, you know. But I think that is because even Sijo himself said, to be Kajukembo, you got to do the Palama sets.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I didn't do all of those, because I brought in some Japanese Heian forms from Koshoru, and I got permission from Sifu Tim because they're close enough to some of the Palama sets that I did 5 or 6 Kajukembo Palama sets, and then the rest I did were Koshoru forms. But you could go to a tournament with those forms. My students would always go, usually they'd take first in forms and first or second in fighting, wearing a Kajukembo shirt, doing stuff that looks like other people's Kajukembo. See, that's the thing. Even though we see little differences in the way each branch does Kajukembo, there's still going to be that core similarity. I mean, I watch a ton of YouTube videos, and I always love seeing both the differences and the similarities in what people are doing out there.
Oh yeah, well, that's the point though, that everybody's different.
Yeah.
You know. And for example, even just okay, let's just go with color of shirts. Okay, in Lopez's school, everybody wore black unless you were a black belt. If you're a black belt, you could wear a red shirt. Okay, down south, okay, everybody wears red shirts unless you're a black belt. Then you wear a black shirt. Okay, so it depends on where you're from. And then some schools, you wear your gis or you don't come to class. Okay,
Yeah.
you know, so it just depends. And then there's some people that wear kung fu tops and things like that. And there's some flexibility here and there, you know, heck, not even the belt colors are the same. Okay. And Sid Lopez, it was orange, purple, blue, green, brown, and then black. No degrees whatsoever, except for once you got the black belt. Okay. Gaylord method, add yellow belt in there. Okay. You know, original method, it's what, white, purple, and then purple belt, blue belt, green belt, brown belt, and then black belt, right? And that may vary also depending on what school you're in. Okay. And then some schools have first degree brown, second degree brown, third degree brown. Okay. And degrees on the other belts as well. Right. Because the more you promote your students, the more accomplishment they feel, and the longer they'll stay. Commercialization of karate. Okay.
Yes,
So a lot of people have gone into that. Okay. So everything's different. But my point being is we have all this consternation on the internet right now about KAJUKENBO, and you're not meeting the same standards I did. Okay. Well, I'm not the same style as you.
Sure.
Okay. You know, we have different standards, okay, here than you have there. Okay. Heck, in Lopez method, we wore sashes until you got your black belt. Okay. I didn't wear a regular belt until I started training down in San Diego at Vince Black School. Okay. Then I wore a green belt. Okay.
I remember Sifu Charlesworth when you came and visited my school back in 2010 a few times. And the first time you showed up to class, you said, "Where's your belts?" I said, "Oh, we don't usually wear those unless we're going to a tournament. We already know what each other's rank is, you know." And
That are
you know,
different.
so yeah.
You know, but my point too is the only standards that I'm aware of in KAJUKENBO to date, okay, that are published publicly that you can find on the internet is the BOA standards for 9th and 8th degrees. Okay. Those are the only things that are published right now. Okay. Rick Kenji made a comment that there's something about 5th to 7th degree. Okay. I haven't seen anything about that. I don't know if any of you have either, or whether that's something that that's coming out as part of this KAJUKENBO Congress that supposedly exists. And that's something else I wanted to bring up because we're talking about OHANA and the family tree. Okay. We can't possibly be talking about making a KAJUKENBO Congress without including everybody that's on the family tree.
Well,
Amen.
and then remember, keep in mind that family congress, they can do what they want to do, but it only able to affect people in KSDI and the BOA group.
Well, anybody that calls themselves a member, right, which should only be people that are represented in the group. But that's like saying we have the Constitution of the United States of America and we have a Congress, okay, but we don't like Hawaii and we don't like Washington. So those two aren't going to be represented.
Amen. I agree.
That's not
And
a
I was going to say two things. How many of these do we need? You know, we got the BOA, we got the COA, and now they're talking about a Congress. I mean, honestly, I think we need to narrow it down, not keep lumping more on top of it.
Well,
and then, and I was going to ask you, Senior Grandmaster, Dave and I talked about this. If you would allow us to spearhead something and put it across your desk and any of the other seniors, we would love to help write up standards for WWKF KAJUKENBO, like how many hours it takes to get the orange belt, the purple belt, the blue belt, the brown belt, the green belt, the brown belt, the black belt, and so forth, and what requirements are needed. So that way, if anybody comes to any of us in the WWKF, we already have a PDF that we can email anyone and say, here it is. These are all the requirements, and this is what it takes, you know? And that way also all the schools in the WWKF will know these are the standards and requirements that need to be met. And of course, there could be flexibility a little bit here and there from a case-by-case basis, but for the most part, every school should be able to do a certain amount of things, you know? And that way nobody can come after us and say, hey, you know, you guys are this, or you guys are that, or you're not doing this, or you're not doing that. Well, we got it all right here for anyone who wants to read it.
Sure.
You know?
Well, you know, that Congress thing that you're trying to do right now, okay, it already got back to me. It's because of me and the Worldwide KAJUKENBO Federation. Kelly Gaylord and Glenn Pacelli's trying to put it together so that way they don't recognize me or none of you guys. But like myself and Senior Grandmaster New and Mr. Grandmaster, we talk. We got our own federation. We got our own association. I don't need anybody's blessing.
It's true.
None of you guys need their blessing. So they can, you know, I could do what I want. Senior Grandmaster News got his own association. Senior Grandmaster Willis has his federation. You can promote who you want to promote. That's up to all of us. And they don't have the right to question anybody on the rank. You know, if they're in their own organization, let's say KSDI or the KAA, the OKA, if they're in their association and they promote, let's say KAA promoted 2 degrees when they weren't supposed to. You know what? That's their business. They don't give a shit. That's their business. If KSDI wants to promote whoever, Jesse Corpus's best friend to 9th degree, I don't care. That's their business. Don't worry about my business.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
you know, that's we're putting it, him jumping on the bandwagon. So I mean,
Well,
that's ridiculous.
And I know somebody had made a comment, and I mean, we all have friends that across KAJUKENBO, and we know people that went to the KSDI event. And from my understanding, is that the Gaylord method leadership was trying to sell the rest of KAJUKENBO at the KSDI event on what are we going to do about Hemenes? What are we going to do about Hemenes? I want to talk about Hemenes, okay? And running around and trying to get everybody on the hate wagon, and then following it. Oh, wow, magically you get a letter. Oh, well, then magically something happens, and magically 2 fake Facebook accounts are created, and we're going to start bringing up all these people around the world that we think are yours, right? Some of them are, some of them aren't. You know, and okay, I get it. I understand, you know, people's need for trying to enforce, you know, the standard that they were held up to, and not liking the fact that there's people out there that don't deserve the rank that they wear.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. Okay. And I don't have a problem with them voicing their opinion about that. Okay. But I do have a problem with them trashing KAJUKENBO. I think that there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into KAJUKENBO. And a few bad apples doesn't make the whole tree bad. Okay. So you trying to poison a branch of that tree, okay, is going to go right down to the roots, and it's going to poison the roots, and the whole tree is going to die.
Yeah, you know, first of all, I want to say I really am sorry that Grandmaster Terry Faircloth wasn't able to join us. And hopefully when we do another one of these, he'll hop on board. I love that guy. Wish you were here, Sifu Terry. Love you, buddy. Secondly, I think we should all, the bottom line is this. If it says KAJUKENBO on your uniform, or it says KAJUKENBO above the door of your gym, your school, if you are KAJUKENBO, we should all be promoting and uplifting each other. I don't see any of that. I don't see any of that where you're giving them a pat on the back like, hey, Sifu Charlesworth, nice job on your last video. It takes a lot of balls to get out there and make videos all the time. I love watching them. You know, hey, Grandmaster New, nice job on that trip that you made over there and working with all those guys at that seminar. You know, I love seeing all those pictures. And if I saw something from you, Grandmaster Jimmy Willis, hey, and even anybody outside of my organization. I just went on Facebook last night or the night before, and I saw a seminar. I saw a lot of old familiar faces. One of my black belts was there. He doesn't talk to me anymore for whatever reason. It's sad, but whatever. And then I saw Tim Gagne and even the guy who called me out said I had no honor. And I wasn't, and I clicked like on the picture and I was smiling and I felt good. Like those guys, I wish I was there. I wish I could go have fun with those guys. And I think, hey, that's great. Those guys are still training. They're having fun. Way to go. And there was a lot of KAJUKENBO guys at that seminar, and they were representing KAJUKENBO. I hope they all behaved and got along, you know, because I see a lot of misbehaving, and I see like you were saying, Sifu Charlesworth, it really irritates me and disappoints me to see people are coming up trying to cut off a branch on their own family tree, pour poison on top of it, pour lighter fluid on top of it. That's going to kill the whole tree, kids.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this is another thing too that I want to put across real quick before we wrap this up. There's always 2 sides to a story. No matter whose side it is. If I tell the story, there's gonna be another side to that person, you know, vice versa or whatever. the grandmasters that are listening to, let's say, Kelly Gaylor and whatever the guy is, and listen, it takes two people. So, instead of going, well, I hate that guy, what do you do? I don't know, but I hate him because you heard so-and-so say something. Okay. They need to call me up or, I said, is this true? Just like I was talking to one of the grandmasters the other day, I don't want to bring all the names up, but I was talking to the grandmaster the other day. Another grandmaster called him because he saw the stuff on Facebook that they were putting on me. Is this true? The other grandmaster straightened it out completely. No. He goes, I don't know people he said, but it was a good thing. And that's the way it's done. So when I don't care if you're a grandmaster or not, if you're gonna jump on and not hear the other side of the story and hate my guts, whatever, and show me no respect, well then you're not gonna get no respect from me. So that's why I look at it. If they got a problem, you call me up, say, hey, is this true? I heard so and so say this. I go, I don't know you. I'd like to meet you. I'd like to talk to you. I just want to hear both sides of the story before I make a decision if I like you or not. Like I really care if they like me or not, but the point I'm getting at, it takes two sides to the story. That's all I gotta say.
Well, when we go into a court of law, you don't just go in there with a defense and a judge or a prosecution and a judge. You have defense and prosecutor and a judge, and these days it seems like a lot of people just want to be the judge and the jury, and they don't want to hear both sides of the defense and the prosecution,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. I mean, and then you have, and let's face it, okay, there's a lot of challenges out there when you talk about spreading KAJUKENBO around the world. Okay, there's schools out there in Kuwait. Okay, there's schools in Turkey. There's schools in, Morocco. Okay, all these places around the world, and there's some of those places, aren't the easiest to get to, and then there's some other places that aren't the friendliest places to go to. Okay. But the thing
in Jimmy to Iran
is, people talk about, and I've heard this several times where, people can promote whoever they want to promote, even when they haven't met them on the mat. Okay. Well, going out to a school 3 to 4 times a year, if that, okay, does not make being on the mat and training with these people. Okay. That just means you go out and train with them 3 or 4 times a year. Okay. Is that enough? Okay. You want to talk about one-on-one training and being involved, with their training and everything and building relationships and things like that? I'd say no.
I don't want to. I just tell them to go to the office.
Okay.
I'm gonna be back 2 minutes late.
So, I mean, it is what it is, So let's not have a double standard when it comes to this type of thing, right? It's one of those things where, you either have the time to train with them or you don't. And if you don't, then how do you do it? Do you do it via Zoom class? Do you do it via videos? Do you how do you work that out? So it's one of those things where, don't be so quick to judge on that, because there's plenty of people that do it. And it's not just the WWKF. Okay. The KAA does the same thing. Okay. New KAJUKENBO does the same thing. Willis does the same thing. Right. The KSDI does the same thing. Everybody does it. Okay. So it's not just one organization over the other that's doing all this stuff. Right. So let's be fair about it, And I guess I'd ask just one other thing before, unless anybody else has anything before we close this up, is if you guys are invited to sit down and come up with some standards that would be the core standards for all of KAJUKENBO, would you be willing to do it?
Yes.
Well, and I think I like that, Senior Grandmaster. I think we all need to be more gracious with each other, and more considerate, and more positive. But Grandmaster Jimmy, please chime in. I do enough talking as it is. We want to hear what you got to say.
No, you're right. I think we should, with our own organizations, have a curriculum. I have one.
Sit up a little bit.
Huh?
Sit up a little bit.
Oh, okay. Can you see me now?
Yeah, I
Hey,
see.
don't let him
Okay.
talk to you like that.
Attack their nostrils.
But I have one, and
He's just a bridge hand away.
Oh, you muted yourself, Grandmaster Jimmy. You got to unmute yourself.
I Sorry,
There
I
he
had a
is.
phone call. Sorry. Okay, so I think Senior Grandmaster Jimenez has one as well. But yeah, I think it should be a curriculum, a guidance to help the students who know what they need to achieve and then to get that certain rank and stuff. And it's good to have. I have it from my school. I know when we were growing up, we had one. So you know what the criteria was in order to get promoted and stuff like that. And I think it's a good thing to have.
Sit up. You're
Sit up?
screen down. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's his nostrils. There you go.
Well,
Right.
Were my
and-
nostrils
and-
clean?
No.
they're looking good. They're looking good. I think
Okay.
you know, it is a good thing to have, and we all need to be gracious with each other in all the various camps of KAJUKENBO, because those criteria are going to be different from school to
Right.
school and between organizations, you know.
That is correct. Like I said from the beginning, it's all about respect, honor. Respect everybody. In order to grow, you had to have respect. If you don't have respect, then you're going to be shortened. Somebody's going to either take you by your legs. Hate to say it, but your life, you won't have a long journey. But by having respect, you'll have a much longer journey. Have respect and love for each other. That's just a tradition of martial arts. Always having respect, love, honor is all part of tradition.
Well, yeah, like I said, if like I said in the other videos I used to make, if I'm not saying everybody should get along. It's like Rodney King, but if everybody tries to get along, it'd be okay. There's enough people out there. No one needs to slash anybody's back. No one has to worry about who they promote, and stuff like that. I mean, like in promotion, sometimes we all make mistakes. Everybody. There's not one person that said that has not made a mistake, in a promotion or whatever. But if you're big enough to apologize about it, I mean, it's over and it's done with, but don't keep dragging it on. I mean, just don't drag it on, but, and like I said, we got some changes coming soon. I'll announce it. And then, if things work out, and plus my attorney is involved in what's going on now. So that'll be taken care through that. So we'll see how that works,
Yeah, that one guy, he just kind of messed things up pretty big there. And it's nobody's business what happened when he was in WWKF and you tried to promote him to help grow KAJUKENBO, and he took it and blew it out of proportion. And now everyone can see what a joke that guy is. I mean,
yeah,
and stuff like that happens. Stuff like that happens. All you can do is clear the air and let everybody know. Like, I mean, I made a bad promotion. I'm not like I'm saying I'm nobody, but I promoted a handful of people to black belt over the years, and one of them it turned out to be a real rotten apple. Well, I would,
sure.
it
I happens.
I can't
It does
take him off.
happen.
I can't take him off the tree, but I don't talk to him anymore. He doesn't talk to me. I don't know where he's training, if he's even training. And like something else I always hear you say, I wish him the best,
Yeah,
whatever he's doing, I wish him the best. But if somebody wants to come in and mess up the house, then it's our job to stop that, and warn other people. If you let him in your house, he's going to come in and mess it up. So,
sure.
and that's what you've done, Senior Grandmaster, is you said, hey, look, we let this guy in our house. We gave him a home, and he messed some things up. Don't make the same mistake.
Let me tell you, myself, all Grandmaster, Willis Grandmaster knew, also, we all told Ottman, you are not a Grandmaster. You're not even an 8th degree. Do not post that. You will make myself and the association and the federation look horrible. And he said he wouldn't do it. And I think 3-4 days later, he did it.
Wait, Senior Grandmaster. You should tell him how he tried to call himself Sijo also.
Oh yeah, and then he tried to call. Then Ottman tried to call himself. Well, way before that, he tried to call himself Sijo, and he posted it. He put Sijo Ottman. And so, of course, I almost shit myself. Getting on the phone, getting him off. And I'm like, get it off right now. I go, what are you thinking? He's like, oh, well, I work out with Samuel Kwok and Bruce Lee's his thing. So he puts a picture of Samuel Kwok, Bruce Lee and himself. I go, dude, you're not even in the same league and you're not Bruce Lee. Well, Bruce Lee would do it. I go, no, Bruce Lee wouldn't do it. So, we had a yell at him, and that's when I wanted to kick him out then, but then we decided to give him a second chance, and then he just wound up self-promoting himself. And so he's made a total fool out of himself. He's made a fool out of me. He's made a fool out of a lot of people. But remember, when he came to me, he was a 5th degree under Galda Coscos and Mike Santos, and then he was in for like 4 years. So from then on, went on. But he lied about the government, so now he's going to pay the price for that. So, but
yeah. Well, I mean, you look all over the family tree too, and you can see obvious things where people promoted their spouses, their kids, and everything else. And I'm not saying that all those people are not real, but I'm sure that there's some cases where, mommy promoted somebody to black belt, or, daddy did, or what have you, and, it makes you kind of question. And I kind of think that if you have family that you're training and stuff, it's definitely something where you might want to think about, having some kind of an agreement with a sister or brother school kind of thing, so we can avoid those improprietary looking things. At least they look that way, right? And I'm not saying that every one of them is that way, but it's easy to do that. I mean, I could give my wife a black belt in KAJUKENBO and say, look, I got a black belt in KAJUKENBO. Okay. And then she promotes my niece, and then, hey, look, I got 2 downlines. Right. So there's people that do that, and, there's no real standard that covers that and talks about what you can and you can't do, so if they come up with a standard, that'd be great. But the thing is if the current vision of the KAJUKENBO Congress comes up with some standards, and this is what we're going to do, it's only going to apply to people that fall under them. Just like the KSDI OA standards right now really only applies to the KSDI. Right. So,
Well,
unless you subject yourself to that, then okay, then you're agreeing to go under that standard. Okay.
And if we're all okay, it's all a tree. Everything is a tree. We had the analogy of the tree when we were coming up under Lopez. Some trees, some branches, some leaves become a branch, some leaves fall off with the season and become fertilizer. If we look at everything in life as a tree, then what we need to be doing is cultivating the tree as a whole and all the branches. And right now, I see a lot of Paul Bunyans out there wanting to cut branches off the tree, cut people down, trash talking, backstabbing. What we need are more Johnny Appleseeds, planting seeds to grow KAJUKENBO. And then if you see somebody that you think needs correction, pull them aside, tell them quietly, offer them help. Say, hey, look. I mean, that's what a teacher does is offers help and encouragement. Don't trash talk somebody from behind a keyboard. And then, I mean, that doesn't solve anything, you guys. So,
no.
Yeah. And I wanted to take a real quick second here because I wanted to quote a comment by Senior Grandmaster Rick Kinji. Okay. After one of my BOA videos, where he said, essentially, Sijo's BOA recognizes all black belts, Sifu, Seaguns, professors, grandmasters from all branches. We are not comparing or disrespecting anyone. When there is a BOA promotion in Las Vegas for Sijo's BOA members, we invite other grandmasters to stand with us. Okay. So he makes a point of saying, hey, we're not saying we don't recognize them. Okay. And he goes on in another comment that says that with Sijo's BOA, it's not their job to reach out to grandmasters or professors. It's usually asked of them by somebody from the federation organization to recognize under Sijo's criteria to certify the individual. Only in some cases, when the person has lost his teacher through death or disagreement, will they recognize that person. Okay. But they still contact their teacher or group to vet their time in KAJUKENBO.
Yeah, I
Okay.
read that one.
So, and then he goes on to say it's, you know, the active years, 40 active years for grandmaster, 30 for professor, and then two lines of down down lines. Okay, so he went in ahead and he said that. Okay, so now everybody's talking about all these grandmasters that are not legitimate grandmasters. Well, what's your take of a legitimate grandmaster, giving what, you know, Senior Grandmaster Kinji said? He says, like, what, the spokesman for the BOA, right? Okay, so, you know, come on, guys, let's stop knocking each other down. And I'm seeing some pretty senior people doing it, and I say shame on you for that. Okay, you're a grandmaster. It's your job to lead. Okay, I'm a third degree. I'm supposed to follow. Why do I have to keep stepping up and saying the things that I'm saying in the videos that I'm making? Okay, you guys are all talking like I'm disrespecting somebody or how I'm pointing somebody out and I'm flicking them in the nose. That's not what I'm doing.
Go ahead. I'm gonna.
You know, so I just want to put that out there. Okay, and that's just because, you know, you don't have to be the senior guy to be a leader. Okay.
Oh, he forgot to hit mute.
Okay, I get it. Okay.
Guys, I'm at to break away real quick myself. I have to go do some errand.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I
okay.
just wanted to mention that before we break out of here.
Thanks for being here, everyone. Thank you
I
for being here.
appreciate, you know, you guys taking the time to talk about this stuff. And you know, I think it's important that we do this sort of thing. And, you know, for you, Grandmaster New, I mean, you weren't here when I asked this question. But essentially I said, I posed the question, if you were all invited to sit down with the rest of the leadership of KAJUKENBO to discuss requirements for KAJUKENBO as a whole, okay, would you be, you know, willing to sit down with the rest of the KAJUKENBO grandmasters and hammer it out?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. You know, people have to hear from each other's opinions and their philosophies of how they operate their schools and train their students and what criteria are they following and so forth. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not a big problem.
All right. So with that said, does anybody else have anything they want to add?
I just want to say thanks to all you guys for being here. And I want to tell everyone who watches this video and listens to what we have to say, if you want to reach out to any one of us to talk to us, you don't like what we said or whatever, do that. And I'm really looking forward to getting back to the roots of helping to grow the KAJUKENBO family tree as a whole. And I want to see all of the name calling and trash talking and backstabbing go away. You know, I want to see everybody grow up, and I want to see KAJUKENBO grow as a whole. And to do that, we all have to work together. We got to set aside our egos and be humble and be willing to learn from each other and be respectful to each other. And that is honorable. That is honorable. So that's my 2 cents.
Yep.
Amen to that.
Do you have any closing remarks, sir?
No, I just appreciate this video and you guys having this YouTube channel to put out and stuff like that. And for myself, the Worldwide KAJUKENBO Federation is, our arms are open to everybody. You know, and like it or not, we're here for everybody. But
So let's put the past behind us, everybody, and let's move forward. Let's do that together.
Amen.
That's my suggestion.
Yeah.
okay, well, too bad Grandmaster Willis left.
That's all right. I'm really glad he was with us for this. It was a lot of fun, all you guys. I'm really happy to be here. I hope the message is well received by everybody in KAJUKENBO, and let's all grow up and work together. Everybody, all of us.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Awesome.
listening.
Thanks, guys.